Welcome to the deep dive. We've got an incredibly fascinating stack of source material to get into today.
We really do.
Yeah, specifically focusing on excerpts from the contemporary young adult novel Paper Girl by Cindy R. Wilson.
Right, which gives us a lot to talk about.
It does. And the mission for our discussion today, for you listening, is to really completely unpack the psychology of isolation. We are looking at the seductive safety of anonymous online personas and the terrifying but absolutely necessary steps it takes to truly connect with the messy, unpredictable real world.
Because it's never simple, is it?
No, definitely not. Okay, let's unpack this by looking at two 17-year-olds who are navigating extremely different physical realities, but strikingly similar psychological landscapes.
That's a great way to frame it.
Thanks. First up, we have Zoe King. So Zoe lives in a sprawling luxury penthouse on the 30th floor of a building in downtown Denver.
Right, totally secure.
Exactly. She has everything she needs delivered, and she hasn't left this apartment in 392 days.
Which immediately establishes an intense psychological baseline.
Yeah.
Zoe is dealing with severe agoraphobia and debilitating panic attacks. The source material reveals that this trauma was largely triggered by her being forced into a very public spotlight.
Right, her dad.
Yes, specifically her father making her star in his local Car King television commercials.
Ugh, you can just imagine the pressure.
Exactly. When you thrust someone into a highly visible, high-pressure situation before they have the psychological scaffolding to handle it, the mind's defense mechanism is often to completely retreat.
Just shut it all down.
Precisely. Zoe's world collapsed inward to the point where her entire existence is confined to these walls.
And the way she manages that confinement is just, it's incredible to visualize. She has essentially gamified her isolation to cope.
By counting steps, right?
Yeah. She measures the penthouse in steps, aiming for exactly 12,222 steps a day, just by pacing in circuits.
It's a very rigid structure.
It is, but the most striking detail is her study. She has transformed this room into a massive, meticulously crafted to scale paper replica of the Milky Way galaxy.
The level of detail there is staggering.
It really is. We're talking XACTO knife-carved 3D meteors.
And she spent a week folding 47 sheets of gray and white copy paper just to construct Mercury alone.
Yes, her sun is made of 143 sheets of yellow paper. She even includes Pluto, and the text notes she has a soft spot for it because she identifies with its status as a dwarf planet that doesn't quite fit the expected mold.
It's a beautifully realized physical manifestation of her internal state.
How so?
Well, when the external world feels completely threatening and chaotic, creating a micro-universe where you are the sole architect is a powerful coping mechanism. Every precise fold of paper is a momentary exertion of control.
That makes total sense.
But to fully understand Zoe, we have to look at the character sitting on the absolute opposite end of the physical spectrum.
Jackson Knight.
Exactly. Jackson is also a 17-year-old high school senior, but he has absolutely no physical home.
None at all.
He sleeps in his car to escape his father, Austin, who is battling a severe heroin addiction.
Which is just heartbreaking.
It is. Austin completely drained the life insurance money left behind by Jackson's late mother, Cecilia Ann.
So Jackson is out on the streets of Denver, carrying his life in a duffel bag and a backpack. His survival strategy is entirely dependent on public infrastructure.
Right. He has to be incredibly resourceful.
He does. He uses the Denver Public Library as his main base of operations. And there's this fantastic detail about the silent librarian there, Dale.
Oh, I love that part.
Me too.
Yeah.
Dale never actually speaks to Jackson, but he quietly leaves him fresh apples and college prep books while stocking the shelves.
It's a quiet sort of grace.
Yeah. Jackson uses laundromats to wash his clothes, sleeps in the backseat of his car, occasionally parking at a friend's house or a Starbucks. He is operating with one singular goal.
To win an astrophysics scholarship and go to college.
Exactly, which was a dream he shared with his late mother.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, we are looking at two distinct experiences of homelessness.
That's an interesting word for it. Zoe has a home.
She has a highly secure physical structure, yes, but she lacks a safe psychological home in the outside world.
Ah, I see what you mean.
Jackson, conversely, is entirely unhoused physically. He's constantly exposed to the elements and the unpredictability of his environment, yet both characters are relying heavily on the illusion of control to survive their respective traumas.
Wait, I get how Zoe shrinking her world to a paper solar system is an illusion of control. But Jackson has a militant grip on his schedule.
He does.
He's studying astrophysics, navigating the library, balancing school and survival. How is he experiencing an illusion of control if his routine is actually the thing keeping him alive?
Because it's a compensatory mechanism.
Okay, unpack that.
Jackson exerts absolute militant control over his daily schedule precisely because his overarching environment is entirely out of his hands.
Oh, right, his father.
Yes. His father's addiction is a chaotic variable he cannot manage. His physical safety is never guaranteed. So he hyperfixates on the minutia he can govern.
Like when he studies.
When he studies, where he parks, how he rations his resources. It keeps him functional, yes, but it masks the underlying reality that he is highly vulnerable. Both he and Zoe are using extreme regimentation to keep terror at bay.
And here's where it gets really interesting. Because while they are entirely isolated in their day-to-day physical realities, they have actually found a sanctuary with each other in the digital world.
Yes, the chess website.
Exactly. They're both active on a website called Chess Challenge. Zoe plays under the username Rogue2015, and Jackson plays as Black Knight.
And they play these incredibly intense chess games.
They do, and they chat anonymously for months.
The structural irony here is fantastic.
It's so good.
In the physical world, they actually know of each other.
Right. Before Zoe became housebound, she used to sit on the school bleachers in her manga-drawn sneakers reading chess books.
And she harbored a massive crush on Jackson.
She did. And Jackson, for his part, was always intrigued by Zoe. And notice when she suddenly vanished from school.
But within the architecture of Chess Challenge, they are completely blind to each other's real-world identities.
Which totally shifts the power dynamic. Because they are anonymous, they end up confessing their deepest, darkest realities to each other.
It's so much easier to do that behind a screen.
It really is. Jackson admits to Rogue 2015 that his home life was complicated and that he essentially lives in his car.
And Zoe?
Zoe, as Rogue 2015, confesses that the physical world is just too terrifying for her, and she hides behind her computer because face-to-face interaction carries too much pressure.
They are baring their souls to the exact person they would be most terrified to speak to in the real world.
That perfectly encapsulates the psychology of digital anonymity, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
When you strip away the physical body, the social hierarchy of high school, the systemic burden of poverty, or the visible symptoms of panic, you are left purely with cognition.
Just mind to mind.
Exactly. For Zoe, the fear of stuttering or blushing or hyperventilating in public vanishes online. For Jackson, the heavy stigma of being the homeless kid or the addict's son doesn't exist on a chessboard.
Right.
But the source material uses the mechanics of chess to introduce a really crucial concept that bridges their digital and physical lives, which is zugzwang.
Zoe actually brings that up in a flashback, right?
Yeah.
She's sitting on the bleachers reading her chess books, and Jackson asks her about it.
Exactly. Zugzwang is a situation in chess where a player is obligated to make a move, but any available move will significantly worsen their position.
Well, that's rough.
It's the sheer agony of being forced to act when you would desperately prefer to do nothing.
And how does that apply to them?
Applied psychologically, both of these teenagers are in a state of real-life zugzwang. Jackson is forced to make exhausting, high-stakes moves every single day.
Like lying on complex financial aid forms.
Yes, lying on forms, hiding from police patrols at 2 a.m, dodging his erratic father. He has to keep moving, even when every move is draining his resources.
And Zoe is hitting a wall, too. Staying in the apartment is slowly suffocating her, effectively costing her her life and her future.
But the mere thought of leaving the apartment feels like a fatal move.
Exactly. She is fundamentally stuck. But the board requires her to play. Which brings us to therapist number 6, Gina Price.
Gina is a pivotal catalyst in the narrative.
She really is.
Because she represents a radical shift in therapeutic methodology. The text notes that Zoe's previous therapist, Dr. Edwards, was very traditional.
Very clinical.
He came to the penthouse, kept things clinical, and essentially enabled her avoidance behavior by keeping her comfortable. Gina disrupts that entirely.
She certainly disrupts the visual space. Gina walks into this sterile, controlled penthouse wearing bright yellow shoes, the exact shade of Zoe's paper sun, and these wild galaxy print scarves.
She refuses to play by the rules Zoe has established for her isolation.
Because Gina recognizes that you cannot treat severe agoraphobia with pure talk therapy in the patient's safe zone.
Right. She initiates a framework of exposure therapy, specifically through habituation. She institutes Project Mailbox.
Project Mailbox sounds almost comically simple.
To a neurotypical person, sure.
Right. Gina tells Zoe that her only goal for the day is to take the elevator down 30 floors and check the mail in the lobby with her popular cheerleader sister May.
To anyone else, that's a chore.
For Zoe, who hasn't crossed her threshold in over a year, this is the equivalent of a spacewalk without a tether.
It's a textbook example of breaking a massive, paralyzing fear down into a micro-step. But the physiological reality of taking that step is severe.
The book really dives into that.
It does. The text doesn't gloss over this. When Zoe gets into that elevator, she doesn't just feel nervous. The descent of those 76 steps triggers a massive autonomic nervous system response.
Her chest tightens.
Yes, the air feels thin, her extremities go numb, her brain is firing a full-blown fight-or-flight signal in response to a completely non-lethal environment.
And she pushes through it. She actually makes it to the shiny tile floor of the lobby. She even manages to say good morning to an older woman wearing a hot pink visor.
A huge victory.
It is, but then the absolute worst-case scenario unfolds. She physically bumps into someone, the letters scatter all over the floor, and when she drops to her knees to grab them, she looks up and realizes she's just bumped into Jackson.
It is the ultimate collision of her vulnerabilities.
Oh, completely.
Her controlled environment has ruptured, she has dropped everything, and the specific boy she harbors feelings for is watching her fail.
And Jackson immediately tries to help her gather the mail, kneeling down right next to her.
And the text notes that Zoe just locks her eyes onto his untied Converse sneakers. That detail is critical.
Why is that?
Because staring at the shoes isn't just teenage awkwardness, it is a desperate, failing attempt at sensory grounding. The sensory input of the lobby, the scattered mail, and Jackson's physical presence is too much.
It overloads her.
Yes, her cognitive processing gets completely overwhelmed, triggering an acute panic attack. She can't breathe, she feels like she's dying, and Jackson and May have to physically escort her back up those 76 steps to the penthouse.
Zoe views this entire expedition as a humiliating, catastrophic failure.
Of course she does.
But when Gina returns for the next session, she doesn't let Zoe retreat into that narrative of defeat. Gina introduces this brilliant piece of cognitive reframing through a story about her own college days.
The coffee mug story.
Yes. She tells Zoe about a time she was trying to flirt with a cute waiter at a cafe, and she ended up dropping 3 coffee mugs that shattered all over his feet in front of everyone.
That shattered coffee mug anecdote is the core of Gina's therapeutic approach. She is actively challenging Zoe's catastrophic thinking.
By normalizing it.
First, she normalizes the failure. Dropping things, looking foolish, stumbling, these are universal human experiences, not unique indictments of Zoe's character. But the deeper psychological lesson is about the narrative constructed after the event. Gina tells her, "It is what you make of it."
Right. If you obsess over the embarrassment, you cement it as a disaster in your mind. If you apologize and keep moving, it's just a fleeting, clumsy moment.
Exactly.
Gina points out that Jackson wasn't standing there judging Zoe. He immediately knelt down to help pick up the envelopes. Zoe's anxiety was acting as an unreliable narrator, convincing her she was the center of a hostile universe.
Cognitive behavioral therapy relies heavily on recognizing when your anxiety is writing fiction. And that cognitive reframing physically and mentally prepares Zoe for the next major shift in the story.
Allowing an outsider into her sanctuary.
Yes.
Yeah.
Through some parental maneuvering, Jackson is hired to come to the penthouse to tutor Zoe in math and physics.
Which is a massive boundary crossed for Zoe. And when Jackson steps into her study, he is completely mesmerized. He smells her jasmine perfume. He is surrounded by this breathtaking, intricate paper galaxy.
He is seeing the brilliance of her mind physically constructed in the room.
He is. But while she's distracted, Jackson happens to glance at her open laptop on the desk.
And he immediately recognizes the dashboard.
It's Chess Challenge. He sees the username. He puts all the pieces together, the brilliant strategy, the quiet intelligence, the manga sneakers from the bleachers. Zoe King is Rogue 2015.
It's a brilliant narrative pivot because it plunges Jackson into an intense internal conflict. The girl he is increasingly drawn to in the physical world is simultaneously his deepest confidant in the digital world.
The logical, perhaps even romantic impulse would be to immediately confess, to say, I'm Black Knight.
But he makes a deliberate, conscious choice to hide his identity.
And it's entirely driven by self-preservation, isn't it?
It is driven by profound shame. Jackson quickly calculates the fallout. If he reveals he is Black Knight, the digital veil falls, and Zoe will instantly possess his most closely guarded, vulnerable secret.
That he's homeless.
Yes. She will know that this smart, capable guy tutoring her in a high-security penthouse is actually homeless, sleeping in the back seat of his car and managing the fallout of his father's heroin addiction.
He is terrified of her pity.
He is terrified that the reality of his poverty will sever the one authentic connection he has. He desperately wants to know her in the real world, but he is completely unready to let her truly know him.
That creates such a dense layer of tension in every interaction they have moving forward, which culminates perfectly in the slasher movie night.
Oh, this scene is so good.
It's great. Maya, pushing the boundaries of Zoe's isolation again, invites Jackson to stay for a Friday night movie in the living room with her boyfriend Robert, her friend Kelly, and Zoe.
They are all sitting around eating Giuseppe's pizza.
Yeah, and May enforces the cardinal rule of slasher movie night. Everyone has to lay down a bet on the final body count of the film.
This scene is a crucial milestone for Zoe's exposure therapy. Group social dynamics are highly unpredictable, which is exactly what agoraphobia trains you to avoid.
Right. The bets go around the room. Robert plays the cynic and guesses 12. Jackson analyzes the genre and guesses 10. Kelly is conservative and guesses 6.
And then Zoe.
And then Zoe, who has spent over a year meticulously avoiding any social risk, completely deadpans and says 17.
The entire room just stops.
And then they all burst out laughing. It's this incredibly validating moment for her. She realizes they aren't laughing at her anxiety, they're laughing with her humor.
She took a conversational risk, and it landed perfectly.
So what does this all mean? As the movie plays out, Jackson makes a highly deliberate physical move.
He doesn't sit on a separate chair or maintain a polite distance.
No, he sits right next to Zoe on the couch. He sits so close that their knees are resting against each other, and he puts his arm along the back of the couch behind her.
That physical proximity is the antithesis of their digital relationship. By initiating that physical touch, allowing their knees to rest together in a crowded room, Jackson is aggressively anchoring their connection in physical reality.
He already deeply understands her digital persona, Rogue 2015.
But right there, over Giuseppe's pizza and a cheesy horror movie, he is pulling her out of the digital ether. He is communicating, I see the real you in this physical space, and I actively want to be close to it. It requires immense vulnerability from both of them.
It really does. And as we wrap up our analysis of Paper Girl today, I'm going to turn this directly to you listening right now. Take a moment to examine your own routines.
It's a good exercise.
Do you have your own elaborate paper rooms? Are you building up rigid habits or convenient excuses to insulate yourself from the possibility of failure or public embarrassment?
Or relying on digital safety.
Exactly. Do you find yourself leaning heavily on digital usernames or carefully curated online personas simply because the raw, unfiltered vulnerability of a face-to-face connection feels like an unacceptable risk?
What these characters demonstrate so clearly is that genuine connection demands that you step out of the sanctuary.
Like Jackson sitting close enough to touch Zoe's knee during a movie. It requires stepping into a world that is messy, unpredictable, and sometimes painful.
You cannot experience the warmth of someone sitting next to you if you never unlock the door to let them in. And this raises an important question, one that the text leaves us to wrestle with regarding Jackson's ongoing choices.
Yeah, he has a lot to answer for.
He does. Jackson has crossed the threshold. He now possesses Zoe's most vulnerable secret identity. He knows she is Rogue 2015, yet she remains completely in the dark about who he is online.
He's withholding it.
Jackson is actively hoarding this secret to shield himself from the deep systemic shame of his homelessness and his father's addiction. So, I want to leave you with a final thought to mull over.
Let's hear it.
Is Jackson the boy who freely rides the city buses, who navigates the public library and walks the streets of Denver, actually engaging in the exact same avoidance behavior as Zoe? By strategically hiding his true reality to avoid judgment, who is truly more isolated.
Wow.
Is it the girl physically locked inside her 30th floor apartment? Or is it the boy locked inside his own protective lies, wandering the entire city, but never truly letting a single person see where he lives?
That is an incredibly powerful lens to view their dynamic through. Thank you for joining us today for this deep dive into the source material. We hope this exploration gave you some valuable insights into the mechanisms we use to hide, and the immense courage it takes to finally allow ourselves to be seen in the real world.
Absolutely.
Keep questioning the paper walls you might be building, and keep pushing yourself to step out of those comfort zones. We'll catch you on the next deep dive.